State budget gaps are exploding right now, with estimates totaling more than $350 billion by 2011. As states look to find solutions to their growing economic problems, Frost and Sullivan conducted a study to see if the lottery could help these states reduce their deficits. And here to tell us all about the study is Margaret DeFrancisco, the president and CEO of the Georgia Lottery Corporation, one of the most successful lottery states in the country. Hi there, Margaret. Thanks for joining us.
Certainly, Tanya. Glad to be with you.
Tell us what kind of potential this study shows the lottery has in reducing state budgets.
Well, there are a lot of very common sense, very basic best practices that came out of this study. And if lotteries were allowed to implement some of these best practices, they could see absolutely an increase in revenue in states all over the country. You know, our colleagues around the country work so hard, and if some of the restrictions could be lifted from them, they could do even a better job than they do today.
And I'm just curious, during hard economic times like these, how is the lottery doing?
Well, I can speak primarily for the Georgia Lottery Corporation, and we are a tiny bit ahead this year. And we wonder, however, if the economy were strong, because we're talking about discretionary dollars, we wonder exactly how much further ahead we would be.
So you don't think that when there is a depression that people think, well, I might as well just throw what money I have into the lottery? You don't think people think that way?
No, I think certainly there are a few people who decide to roll the dice, if you will, and maybe spend a couple extra dollars. But no, I don't believe so.
And how much of a trickle-down effect do dollars raised by the lottery actually have for the states?
Well, I can again talk about Georgia. In the 15-year history of the Georgia Lottery, we have raised over $10.5 billion, and that actually equates to 1,100,000 Hope Scholarship recipients and 940,000 four-year-olds who have gone through the lottery-funded pre-kindergarten program. So that's 2 million families in Georgia that have been directly impacted by the collective effort of our retailers and our players, our vendors, and all the folks who participate in the lottery.
That's excellent. I mean, that's outstanding. Is there a certain mindset behind it? You know, if you can't beat them, join them, which is to say, people are always going to gamble. That's sort of human nature, and this is a way of sort of harnessing that for the greater good, as it were.
It is a great way to spend a few dollars, have a little fun, dream a little while, and knowing that a portion of the money that you're spending is going to good causes, not just in Georgia, but really all over the country and truly all over the world.
And the study, if I understand correctly, found that if state lotteries implement certain areas of improvement, there's the potential to generate an additional $14 billion in funding. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. And that may even be a little conservative. And this is a great time for state legislatures and other policymakers to begin to look at the potential that their lotteries may have and maybe unleash some of that effort and have, again, dollars going to good causes all over the country.
And I wonder if one way is perhaps looking at the average age of the lottery player. As we know, the average age right now of a lottery player in the United States is between 50 and 64 years old. Is there anything being done to expand the appeal to customers of a younger generation?
Absolutely. We try through different promotions and different games to try and attract the attention of young people, but you know, they're always on those devices that they carry around. Right. And that's a real challenge these days because of the way our business model is, because the way our games are set up. We know that they're on the internet and on those devices all the time.
Is there a move then to set up some online lottery ticket buying?
Well, currently, you know that's prohibited by federal statute. And again, this may be a time for a good time for there to be a conversation.
Well, right, because I was going to say, so online gambling is illegal, but if it were the focus were changed to sort of the state coffers, would that still regulated, would that still would that work, do you think?
That's a very good question, and I think it remains to be seen. But again, during hard economic times, and that's how lotteries began back in the 60s, was at a time when states were looking for additional revenue. And maybe this is again one of those times where this could be the beginning of a new conversation, if you will.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, as they say, and it certainly seems that for a lot of states that the situation is getting desperate. Now, one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, there are some people obviously that think that playing into people's addictive nature is morally wrong. What is your response to this, and how do you prevent people from becoming addicted to the lottery?
Well, we certainly hope that people play responsibly, and we urge that